Hello, fifth graders. This week we are going to be doing plants in space. So this worksheet from your garden packet, you're going to go ahead and be getting out your garden kit because we're going to be planting some cool things today. Okay. So again, we're going to be working on this worksheet, plants in space. You are going to be needing some seeds from your garden kit. Okay. They are right here. We're going to be doing a test. Okay. So you should have 2 clear bags with teeny seeds in them. Okay, these are tomato seeds. So you're going to have 1 bag with orange, 1 bag with pink. So you're going to get those out. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to get out these seed starting pellets. We're going to use these. So soak them in warm water works best. Okay, soak them in some warm water for about 10 or 15 minutes. They're going to pop up to be this. You do not want to take this netting off. That helps keep the dirt together. Okay, so put them in a nice cup with some warm water. And then come on back. We will be going over the lesson for plants in space while we wait for our little seed pods to puff up. So go ahead, get some warm water, a little cup or a little bowl, shallow bowl, and then come on back and we will be starting our experiments. All right. All right, guys, so we are going to have this worksheet out. I've got my small dish, okay, with some warm water. You can use cold water too. It's just the warm water helps the little seed packs fill up a little faster. So what you're going to do is you're just going to plop them in that water. Okay, they'll kind of float around for a little bit, but then they will start absorbing that water, and what they're going to do is they are going to expand. Okay, so we'll put them off in the dish, and we're going to wait. I'm going to push that up here for a little while, okay, while we talk about plants in space. So in 2015, NASA began using the veggie system to grow flowering crops on the International Space Station. So when I say ISS, that's International Space Station. The system includes rooting pillows that held a substrate and could retain water for the plants to grow. Using LED lights and astronaut supervision, the scientists learned how plants grew in microgravity. There were a lot of questions that they needed to answer. Right? How would plants know which way to grow without gravity? How would they ensure the roots soak up the water if the water's floating? So there are all sorts of things that they are trying to answer, and that's why they're doing these experiments. So the veggie system, you can see it here. Okay, it has this LED light. It's a big box, kind of with puffy accordion-like sides to it, right? So it has an LED light up top. It has extendable bellows here on the sides. It has a root mat here. It has a plant pillow, and that kind of contains everything in this plant pillow, because what happens if it's loose? In microgravity, the water is just going to float everywhere in the ISS, right? So it needs to be contained. And then it has a quick to disconnect water line. Okay, so this is their setup that they're using on the space station. Here's another side diagram. Okay. What we're going to do is we are going to look at germination rates for 2 tomato seeds. Okay, and normally what we do is we do an experiment called First the Seed. And what they've done is Heinz, who are the lovely people that make ketchup, has sent a bunch of seeds up to the International Space Station, because what they want to know too is, are these seeds that are going up into space going to germinate at the same rate as seeds that are here on Earth, right? Maybe there's something we don't know about, that once the seed goes up into space, it affects the germination rate. So more and more, they are figuring out ways to experiment and learn, is it going to harm the seed if it goes up into space, right? Does the fact that the seed's been exposed to microgravity, is that going to limit the germination rate once we get it to be somewhere? And so for a few years, they've been sending these tomato seeds back down that have been in the International Space Station. Okay, and they've been growing them and figuring out, is the germination rate the same? Is it higher? Is it lower? Okay, and so those are very cool experiments. We don't have the First the Seed seeds this year. We got them last year, so some of you guys might have been growing the space station seeds last year. It's always a blind test. They don't want you to know which ones have been in space. So they give you 2 sets of seeds, just like I gave you 2 sets of seeds. I gave you the orange and the pink. You don't know which ones are special, if any, right? So you're going to treat them both the same. If I said this one's been to space, you might pay it a little bit more attention, right? You might make sure it has water. You might do other things and kind of slant those results. So they like to do blind tests where you don't know which one's been in space. And I will say now it's very cool. This past year, they've gone ahead and taken it one step further, whereas normally they'll give you one that's been on the International Space Station and one that's been on Earth the whole time. Now they've said, okay, we've kind of gotten some good information about what's been on the International Space Station. To my knowledge, they haven't seen a big difference in the germination rates, right? So they're like, okay, it doesn't, it's not making a huge impact if they've been on the International Space Station, which is good news. So what happens if they go outside the International Space Station into zero gravity, into, space? So they've started putting them outside the International Space Station to sit outside and absorb that environment for a while. And now they're experimenting with those, right? Maybe there's a difference. Maybe there's solar ray exposure. Maybe we don't know. So they're experimenting with that now. The seeds you have, okay, you're going to treat as orange and pink, all right? These are not the ones that have been in space, but I still want you guys to understand if there's a change in germination rates between the two. So what you're going to go ahead and do is we are going to work on the germination rate math. Yay! So even in gardening, there is math, and it is important, right? Because if you know that you need X amount of plants to feed you in space and only half your seeds germinate, you're going to have to take twice as many seeds as you normally would. All right? So based on your research, you know that not all seeds will turn into plants. But storage space is precious, so you don't want to take too many seeds that you won't use on your mission. So you need to find the germination rate for the plants that you plan to take on your mission to space. You will need to figure out how many seeds to take with you, and then complete the information below to record the seeds that you planted, the number that germinated, and the germination rate as a percent to help you find how many seeds you should take on your mission. So this is where we are going to use our seed pellets. Okay, and you should have about 4 seed pellets. Hopefully they're starting to expand and get a little bigger. Okay, but you're going to get, and if you don't have 4 seed pellets or you misplaced them, okay, you can just use a cup with some dirt from outside. Just make sure that all of the seeds have the same amount of dirt from the same place, right? Because again, you don't want the pink seeds to have dirt from your backyard and the orange seeds to have a seed pellet, because then it might be more reflective on the pellet or the substrate than the seed. Okay, so you want to make sure when you're doing an experiment, all the things have the same base. All right. So if you don't have 4 pellets, you can just use 4 cups with a little dirt in it. Okay, but you're going to take out 2 pink seeds and 2 orange seeds. So seed type, these are tomato. So right here, I'm going to just go ahead and put tomato. Tomato. But one is orange and one is pink. Okay, so if you just want to put orange and pink, that's fine too. All right, so we're going to plant an equal number of seeds of both. So I'm going to plant 2 pink and 2 orange. Okay, and then what we're going to do for this part is we have to wait and see which germinate. All right, so I am still waiting for my little seed things to puff. Okay, we'll come back in just a few minutes with the magic of technology, and we will plant them in there. So I'll be back in just a second, and then we'll get ready to plant. Okay, so hopefully you guys have this all ready. When you have your seed starts that are all puffed up and ready to go, come on back and we will plant. All right, so now hopefully our seed starter pots have filled up and expanded. You can see mine have popped way up, okay? And so what we're gonna do is we are going to be planting our tomato seeds. So it's going to be easiest. You want to make sure that you keep track of which ones are orange and which ones are pink. Okay, so you can kind of divvy them up. Maybe I'm going to put the orange ones over here and the pink ones on this side. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to write maybe on a piece of tape, okay, or post it down below, I'm going to write which one's which. All right. Do I have pink Post-its? That would be the easiest thing if I had pink Post-its. Of course I don't. I have orange Post-its. So if anything, you could always just put like one Post-it. So I'm going to say this side is orange. Okay. So I'm going to put it actually on the side of my little bowl down here so that I know you can't really see it that easily, but I'm going to be able to see it. Or you can put it, like if this is on a windowsill, okay, you can put it down there. But you want to figure out some way that you're going to be able to tell the orange from the pink. Okay, so I'm going to put a little orange Post-it down there. So now what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and we are going to plant our seeds. All right, so you can see in my orange bag here, I've got my 2 seeds. Okay, these are going to be the pink seeds on this side. Boom. All right, so to plant, you want to make sure that when you squeeze your dirt pot, okay, that it's loose, right? If it's still hard, give it a little bit more time to soak. If you squeeze the sides gently, it should be able to squeeze. All right, that means it's ready to go. So I have my orange here that I've labeled, so I know which ones those are. And remember, these are super teeny seeds, so you kind of have to be pretty careful with them. All right, so we're only going to put 1 seed in each pot. Okay, sometimes like when I'm bulk planting, I might, especially since they're so small, I might plant 2 or 3 seeds. Okay, and if I have 3 of them germinate in one pot, I thin them out, so there's only 1 left. Okay, but what you'll do is you'll kind of, in this top where the hole is, kind of stick your finger in there and wiggle it around a little bit to make a hole. Okay, there should already be a pretty good little hole going. Okay, you don't want it to be too deep. You want it to be about as deep as half your finger. Okay, because again, this is a small seed. It doesn't need to be buried way deep down. And then you're just going to go ahead and drop it in. Okay, and then you're going to pat the top back on there. Okay, I like to say you're just tucking it in, right? I think when you were little and maybe somebody tucked you in at night, that's what you're doing to your seed. You're not like slamming dirt down and pressing it really hard. Okay, you don't want the seed to have to fight super hard to come up and see the light. Okay, so the second one, again, same thing. I put my finger in, wiggle it around, boom. All right, so now I've got my orange seeds planted. Perfect, done. Now you're going to do the same thing with the pink. Okay, another thing you could do is you could always, especially these are plastic bags, you could even just lay it kind of like that. So now you know which one's pink. Just make sure you don't kind of jostle it around too much. Or you can tape the pink to the side. Okay, but you have the baggies. You can use these to keep track of which ones are which. All right, so this one actually for me has 3 seeds. So I can decide if I want to plant all 3 or if I just want to plant 2. Okay, it's up to you. So if you want to plant, like this one has 3, maybe I put 2 in this pot and 1 in this pot. Okay, so same thing, you're going to kind of put the hole in there with your finger, then you're going to kind of tuck it in so the dirt goes on top of it. It's ready to go. So I put 1 seed in here, and I have 2 seeds left, so I'm going to put 2 seeds in here. And again, normally all my Jiffy pots would be the same. I just ran out of all the same kind, so ideally they would all be the same. So this one has 2 seeds in it. Okay, so I'm going to kind of same thing, put it like that, and there we go. So now the next step is we are going to sit and wait. Oh, and see, I messed up. On my form, I said I was planting, oops, it got really bright all of a sudden. I'm going to remove these so you guys can see the form better. But anyway, I had said that I was planting 2 seeds, when in reality, the pink had 3 seeds. So I got to change that. So make sure that the number of seeds planted is correct. Okay? So now what you're going to do is you're going to wait. Wait. You're going to keep this handy. You can, kind of put it by the bowl. All right. Again, if you want to kind of put the baggies on the side of the bowl so you remember which one's on which side. That way you're easy to keep track of which one's pink, which one's orange. All right. So this is my setup. And I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to put them on a windowsill, okay, or a counter somewhere in my room. They are going to want what? What do they need to survive? They're going to need water, substrate, sun. So you've given them water. So you can always just ensure there's a little bit of water kind of in the bottom of that dish. And what happens is this seed pellet will soak it up from the bottom. Okay, you don't need to pour water directly on here and risk making the seed kind of shoot out. You can just add some water to the bottom of that bowl and it'll soak it up. Okay, so they've got water. They've got the substrate, which is these dirt pellets that we've got. Okay, they've got air, fortunately, right? Because we're on Earth. And they're going to need some sunshine. So don't stick these in a closet. Don't stick them in a dark corner. Put them somewhere where they're going to get some sunlight. Okay, and then come back and you're going to want to see which ones germinated. All right, so once you see a little tomato sprout, okay, that's the number of seeds that have germinated. All right, so we're going to go back to our sheet now. And I'm going to say in a week, I've come back and I have noticed that only one of my orange seeds germinated. The other is nothing's happened. Okay, and all 3 of my pink seeds have germinated. So 2 are coming out of one seed starting pellet and 1 is coming out of the other. So the germination rate for the pink is going to be 100%, right? 3 of 3 germinated. Okay, and what about the orange? How many have germinated for the orange? Well, we only had 1 that germinated. So is that 100% germination? No. So we're going to take this number, 1, and divide it by this number. So 1 divided by 2 is 0.5, or 50%. So half of all my orange seeds germinated. So this is important because if I were planting plants and I said, I need to have 20 of the orange tomato plants that I can grow in space, how many seeds am I going to have to take? If I want 20 tomato plants, how many seeds am I going to need to take into space if I know that the germination rate is 50%? 40, right? I'm going to have to take double because only half of them are going to germinate into plants. Okay, so this part you're going to do in week 2. This part you're going to do this week now. Okay, and you're going to sit and watch, and then you're going to see how many seeds germinate and then the germination rate. And then you guys are done. And then you can, it is now warm enough that once they've germinated and they start sprouting, okay, you can put them outside into your garden and have them turn into beautiful tomato plants that hopefully you'll be able to eat some lovely tomatoes off of later this summer. All right, you guys, I will see you next time. Have a great afternoon.